Hi, I'm Dr. Julie Steinauer. Let's talk today about what can sometimes cause kids to have problems with reading. Now, we do a specialized test in our office that allows us to determine whether or not your child could be affected by this. But first, let's talk about how you can connect with us. Now, if you're local, call us at 618-288-1489. If you're not local and you want to connect with us, you still can. Go to our website at visionforlifeworks.com, and what you can do there is two options. You can either fill out a questionnaire or you can click schedule a consultation with me so that you can schedule an online consultation to talk directly about how we might be able to help you or your child. Now, let's get back to talking about what could affect your child's ability to read and this specialized test that we do. So I'm going to show you. This is what it could potentially look like for something that's called a functional visual field. When someone has a small functional visual field and it affects them with reading. So if you can see this white line, that's the easiest. I'll kind of zoom it up a little closer to the camera. You might be able to see the red on there. There's actually multiple colors on this. And so if someone comes in and we test them and they have what's called a small functional visual field, it's going to look something like this. The smaller it is, the more an individual will have difficulty with reading. So if you just think about this, let's think about that size. Let's kind of like that with our hand and then close one eye. If your child can only see that much information, it's kind of like they're looking through a tube or like tunnel vision. Now put that tube and place it on, what do I have that would be a piece of paper to show you. Oh, okay, I'm gonna grab this. This is a form that we use for syntonics, okay? So, and there's a lot of instructions on the back. But all right, so I'm gonna do this and let me just kind of place that tube over my eye and see what kind of information I have that I can see really well when I'm reading. What if that tube gets smaller? And you can try this. We have some students that come into the office whenever we're testing them, and the smallest that you can possibly think of, which would be almost like looking through a straw, is like a little bitty teeny tiny circle here in the middle. Go grab a straw or like an empty paper towel holder. Okay, so like the empty towel tube kind of down the center of it. Hold it up to your eye and say, okay, if my child could only see this, would they be really good at reading? Hey, would they even be able to sit still in the classroom? What if all they could see is this little bitty spot that they're looking through, like a straw, okay? Now here's what it should look like. All right, this is what we might have, even smaller, and this is about what we want it to look like. A functional visual field that's really big and huge and wide open means that if your child's having trouble with reading and they are reading like one word at a time, maybe they're even breaking down bigger words into like chunks and syllables that aren't really syllables or sections that are appropriate. It could possibly mean that your child has this very small functional visual field, and that's the reason why they're doing that. Maybe whenever they're copying from the board, whether it be like a dry erase board, a chalkboard, or a smart board, and they're copying like one letter at a time or small chunks and not really getting like a whole word. Or maybe they're not able to get multiple words, right? When I was copying, I would like, okay, all right, let me write down 4 or 5 words at a time. So I would try to write as much as I could so I didn't have to go back and forth as much. But kids that are having problems with this small functional field will have a lot of difficulty going from one thing back and forth and copying, and they'll do small little sections at a time. They might lose their place too and skip vital information. Now, what do we do about it? Because if we've got something like this, or even smaller, and we need it to look like this, how are we going to get that to happen? Well, here's what's really awesome. There are 2 forms of treatment that kind of fall under the heading of vision therapy that we do in our clinic. One of them we talk about all the time, which is syntonics or light therapy. These are goggles that your child would put on and wear and look at a light source for no more than 10 minutes, maybe 15 at the most, per day, about 5 days per week. This electrically triggers the brain in certain areas of the brain to be able to open up that kind of towel tube or that straw type of tunnel vision that they are functionally experiencing and allow them to process a lot more information. closer to something like this. And when that begins to open up and get larger, not only can they help you be able to like sit still a little bit better in the classroom, pay attention a lot better in the classroom, but it helps them to be able to take in more information all at one time and effectively like maybe copy from a board to their paper easier where they get the whole word, or maybe multiple words now. You'll take off with reading, so you'll see them kind of, I shouldn't say you'll take off, they will take off with reading. You'll see them improve significantly with their reading and get a lot faster and more efficient with it. And it simply has to do with, if we keep it simple, this functional field being too small. Now there are lots of reasons as to why that may happen. That's not really what I'm going into in this video, but you can stay tuned because we'll talk about that in another video sometime. That there are many things that can cause that small functional visual field. We're today kind of just discussing, well, when it's there, what does it look like for reading? And then when it's there, what can we do to fix and correct it? So the syntonics therapy electrically kind of opens up the brain's ability to process more visual information. And then we come alongside with a little bit more of like a physical or a motor type of activity where we might have the child patch an eye and track and get really efficient with reading with their right eye, patch an eye and track and get really efficient with reading with their left eye before we put the two-eyed system together. Again, that part of the vision therapy program is a little bit more mechanical or motor oriented. So there's kind of like electrical and then more mechanical with them doing activities. Both of those things together help us to be able to improve our children's, our patients' ability to read anywhere from 3 to can be as much as 7 grade levels of improvement of reading just after going through a 45-week course of treatment. Now, if you're interested in finding out more information in your local, call us at 618-288-1489. If you're not local, you can still talk with us. Go to our website at visionforlifeworks.com. You can either fill out a questionnaire, or if you'd like to schedule a consultation directly with me, just hit the schedule a consultation button. If you like the video, hit like. If you haven't already, you need to subscribe to our channel. We give out lots of cool information in this. And obviously, if you feel like this could be beneficial, please pass it on to someone and send the link to them so they can watch this video too. Thank you.